So, I had to get my hair cut today. I'm going to be attending a wedding here in a couple of weeks, so there's going to be some videos that'll be live from Florida. Yeah, it's going to be kind of cool. Different atmosphere, but still same Cover Killer Nation. But it made me think. It made me really contemplate about something. And it's something that I think we do need to discuss very briefly. Just like our hairstyles change, perhaps the color changes, perhaps the length of our beards, or anything else that really has to do with change that's on our bodies, whether it be based around what we want or just based around age, well, it changes. Yeah, it changes a lot, in fact. And our musical tastes do the same thing. And something that actually is one of the biggest perpetuators of that is our age, because many things can happen. I'm going to give you a great example. Here I am, less than a month away from my 30th birthday. And really, whenever you get to be, this old, which is not really all that old whenever you consider it, I'm sure a lot of individuals in their teens, perhaps a lot of members of the nation, you guys, are thinking, wow, you must be really set in stone in what you listen to. It must be something that you've listened to for so long that it's almost automatic. And that's really not the case. If I would be able to tell myself, literally go back in time with a time machine and say, hey, do you know that whenever you're about to turn 30, that you'll have started to listen to, bands such as Widespread Panic, that you'd be into this thing called indie music that has bands such as the Black Keys and, the Manchester Orchestra involved, and that's kind of just on the upper echelon of the forefront. You're going to be getting into metal, but you're still going to be listening to thrash, but you're going to have this underlying love for prog. Metallica's not going to be the greatest band ever to you, because that's something I believed whenever I was 14. And you'd also be expanding your horizons and listening to a lot of artists that perhaps you'd only seen commercials for. Remember whenever you used to see, the Bee Gees performing shadow dancing, either that or, jive talking, and you thought it was kind of cool, but never actually listened to it? You'll listen to it now. Remember whenever you thought the Allman Brothers were just douchebag southern rock that's enjoyed by the rednecks around this area? Well, you're going to be enjoying stuff from them, not to mention covers. Remember Winger? Headed for a Heartbreak? You're going to be listening to that a lot too. Coldplay. Yeah, I think my point has been proven. Whenever I was younger, I definitely thought that metal was going to be my way of life. I was still going to listen to a lot of alternative. That was definitely something that was going to be a part of my personality. But if you'd have told me 15 years ago that I was going to be listening to something from literally almost every genre of music out there, and really I've been exploring and finding new things and things that I actually enjoy from the genres that I really don't necessarily consider to be my strengths, I would probably looked at you and said, you're fucking crazy. Probably would have called you something insane, like a dick mo or a spoof move. Only one other person, actually two, will get that. However, it's true. In the past 15 years alone, there have definitely been musical transformations in my life. There's definitely been a lot of transformation and exploration on my part. Now, it doesn't really matter how that exploration came to be. I do work at a music store, so I'm exposed to a lot, but I also do a lot of research and a lot of exploration on my own. A lot of blind gambles, buying stuff, just wondering whether or not I would like it, that actually have ended up, going in my favor. But this is something where the things that I like now are necessarily going to be the same things that you like whenever you go through your exploration phase. And this is something that I think continues for us every single day. It's something that actually should be something that we seek out and really try to do. I can remember one night, it was shortly after the 24 hours of Cover Killer Nation in June, I actually posted a blog about it, and I do have a blog. Please check it out. The link is in the description box, and I remember that I had done something that evening, like going from, trying to remember, I believe it was Miles Davis to The Game, to Stevie Wonder, to Beardfish. Something weird like that. Literally going from the blues to rap to, classic soul, and then coming back to prog. Something where I spanned 4 different genres in the period of a couple of hours. Listening to full albums all the way through and enjoying every minute of each of them, actually. And it's actually one of the main reasons why The Game's Jesus piece ended up on the top pop/rap albums of 2013. This is something where exploration is something that we should be doing on a daily basis. And it shouldn't just necessarily be in the genre that we necessarily love. It should also be just music in general. Because you never know. You might talk a lot of shit about the different emo bands and different things that we talk shit about on this channel, but there's only one reason why I'm really able to talk shit about it. Only one reason why I'm able to mention anything at all, and it's the fact that I've listened to some of it, and I kind of have been able to formulate my own opinion based around that. It's the reason why whenever a lot of people ask for me to blindly talk crap about an artist that's popular, I don't like to do it immediately. I'd rather sit down and listen to a little bit of this stuff first. That way I understand whether or not it's bad or whether or not I think it's bad. Of course, in many cases, you guys have ended up to be right, so I do applaud you for that. You do tend to know me pretty well. But there have been other instances where it's just not really warranted anything because I kind of dig the stuff. But I can understand why it's annoying to you guys. Being young, there's definitely a lot of different temptations out there, and there's definitely a lot of different bands that will be very vogue for a short period of time, and you might want to listen to them and say that you like them just to fit in. I kind of get that too, but just know that your exploration is going to be consistent. It's something that's always going to be out there, and something that you should definitely do. You shouldn't pigeonhole yourself into just one genre of music. This is something where, I know, as metal fans, we tend to try to pigeon ourselves into metal because we think that it's the greatest thing on earth. And let's face it is definitely one of the best music genres that we've ever seen in history, period. It's one of the most expansive and large and just really earth-shattering styles of music that are out there. True extreme forms of expression. But that doesn't mean that we're cut off from everything else. If you'd have told 15-year-old me that I'd be going from Barry White to Cannibal Corpse to Justin Timberlake, I would have probably laughed at you. I would have said, that NSYNC piece of shit? Fuck you. Barry White, isn't he some big black guy that sings about fucking all the time? Okay, I can see that if I'm in the mood. Cannibal Corpse, though, fuck yeah. Guess what? Yeah. Barry White, Cannibal Corpse, Justin Timberlake. Just the other night, sure it was random, but I have all three in my collection, and I enjoyed all three. Unfortunately, there's no proof because I no longer use my Last FM, and that's something I probably should rectify, but if you saw that feed, you'd probably laugh hysterically. Never stop exploring. Never stop finding new things. And above all, don't think that what you're listening to now is going to be the same thing that you're going to be listening to 10 to 15 years down the line, because it's not going to happen. Sure, there is a good chance that as you get older, you may decide that you have preferences. You may decide that you really don't want to explore that much anymore because you feel as though the stuff that's coming out today is crap. But you will be exploring anyway, I guarantee it. You'll be exploring other bands and other groups from the elder age, from maybe the 80s or the 70s, maybe even the 60s, from all different styles and genres. R&B, soul, maybe a little bit of disco, maybe a little bit of classic rock, maybe some old school prog. Maybe some proto-metal. Yeah, that's a thing. Look out, or check out the band Sir Lord Baltimore, and you'll understand exactly what I mean. Musical exploration. It's something that should be done probably on a daily basis. If somebody tells you a name, go home and listen to one track. What's one track going to hurt? If you're not immediately floored, okay. Maybe it's not something you revisit for a while, or ever. But you never know. You might end up loving it. What's a new band that you explored today? Post that in the comments. What are new bands that you've explored in the past week? Post those also. What band would you recommend to somebody else? Post that as well. I'm coverkillernation, and tonight, I don't know what I'm going to listen to. And that's cool, because I might find my next favorite band. Completely by mistake.